Once they are both seated, Gilite begins by addressing the necklace Eugene took from the vault. He informs him that Lobarian appraised it, but it turned out to be nothing more than an ordinary trinket. He goes on to say that they even used mana memory reading on it but found nothing significant. Eugene is taken aback upon hearing that they employed the memory of mana, a technique developed long ago by Sienna. Nervously, he asks what they discovered. Gilite explains that the necklace was originally purchased on the streets of the capital a century ago. Eugene's thoughts race. There's no way that could be true. He is absolutely certain it is the same necklace he possessed 300 years ago. There's no way he could be mistaken. Lobarian has no reason to lie, but did he really read the mana memory correctly? Eugene considers the possibility that an advanced spell, perhaps one at the level of a Tower Master, was used to overwrite the original mana memory. He can't fathom why someone would go to such lengths, but he decides not to dwell on it. Putting on a cheerful facade, he asks Gilite if he can keep the necklace. Gilite nods, affirming that he intends to keep his promise. Eugene gladly takes the necklace and puts it on without hesitation. Switching topics, Gilite states that there was another reason he called him. He admits it might seem sudden but assures Eugene that it's an excellent opportunity for his future. Just as Gilite is about to elaborate, Eugene interrupts. He says that while CL is kind and adorable, it's far too early for him to consider marriage. Now, everything makes sense. CL's joyful and friendly demeanor around him must have been part of an elaborate setup for a political marriage. Eugene had regarded Gilite as a decent man and didn't expect such a scheme brewing in the background. Feeling nervous, he insists that he's too young to think about marriage and doesn't even have his father's permission. But before he can continue, Gilite cuts him off. He calmly states that he never intended for Eugene to marry CL. Eugene freezes in shock, his face flushing red in an instant. He had completely misunderstood the situation. Now he wants to hit his head against a wall for even entertaining the thought of marrying a 13-year-old. Gilite finally reveals his true intention. He wants to adopt Eugene as his son. Eugene is momentarily speechless. It's an unexpected proposal, but at the same time, it offers a solid path to joining the main line. He acknowledges that the offer is abrupt, but Gilite counters that it's not as sudden as a marriage proposal. Furthermore, he adds that he is willing to incorporate Gerhard, Eugene's father, into the main line as well. Uncertain, Eugene remarks that this would mean he'd have two fathers. Gilite, however, dismisses the concern, explaining that it's simply a way for him to become part of the main bloodline. He reassures Eugene, stating that he has no intention of taking him away from his father. In fact, he promises to respect Gerhard as if he were his own brother. Nervously, Eugene asks if refusing to become his son would make Gilite lose respect for his father. Gilite assures him that won't be the case. After all, he is not a petty person. He will respect Eugene's decision and wish him the best for his future. Eugene states that he needs to discuss it with his father since he can't make such a choice alone. Gilite is fine with that and suggests they decide after the banquet. For now, he'll send someone to fetch Eugene's father. Eugene suddenly asks what he meant when he said this decision would be good for his future. Gilite explains that growing up within the main family has its advantages. First, he will have many skilled knights at his disposal to train him. A bright smile appears on Eugene's face. He expresses his desire to learn from the strongest and asks Gilite if he could personally teach him. He agrees, but admits that if Eugene truly wants to learn from the best, Gian is the right person since he surpassed him long ago. Eugene finds it hard to believe that Gian is actually the strongest among them. Then, Gilite inquires if his father taught him how to use mana. Eugene replies that he was told it was forbidden to learn about it yet. Apparently, the primary source of mana comes from the mana stones hidden within high-ranked monsters. The more efficient the mana stone, the harder it is to obtain, and to use them properly, one needs an exceptional mentor. Unfortunately, the place where Eugene grew up was not ideal for nurturing his talent. Gilite is aware of all this, but refrains from saying it aloud to avoid creating resentment. After their conversation, Eugene stands up and thanks him for everything. Gilite offers to have someone escort him back, but he politely declines, saying that the separate building is not far, and he'll go alone. As he leaves the mansion, a perfume scent lingers in the air. He senses that someone is hiding around the corner. Since the individual remains motionless, he assumes they must be waiting for him. He keeps walking, and suddenly Anasilia appears, feigning surprise at the encounter. Eugene is aware of her act, but he knows the best approach is to adhere to formalities. He bows and introduces himself. She comments that she noticed him talking with the head of the family for a long time. Eugene asks if she has something to say. Internally, she seethes at his audacity, but she's not surprised. He is the country boy who not only defeated a member of the main family, but also won the bloodline continuation ritual. She knows Eugene will grow even stronger in the future, so it is better to maintain a friendly facade. She even admits that she instructed CL to stay close to him to bind him through a political marriage. She continues, asking what he discussed with the family head. He replies that it wouldn't be appropriate to disclose a private conversation with Gilite. Anna Celia grows nervous and agrees, adding that she has another topic to discuss. She apologizes for Cyan's disrespectful behavior a few days ago, explaining that she had no time to address it due to the ritual. With a stoic expression, Eugene replies that an apology is unnecessary since the issue was already settled with Cyan. She commends him for being so mature and magnanimous at his age. Finally, she states that she will give Cyan a stern warning and hopes they get along. Smiling, Eugene assures her they will. After all, they are family. Anna Celia's anger flares at hearing the word family. He is right, but hearing it from Eugene unsettles her. He asks if he may leave, and Anna Celia apologizes for delaying him, advising him to rest. As Eugene departs, he wonders if she has opposed him from the start, simply because he belongs to the Branch family. He decides it would be best to avoid entanglements with her. 2 days have passed since Gilite and Eugene discussed the adoption. A carriage arrives at the mansion, transporting Eugene's father, who is being escorted by Gion. In his mind, Gerhard still can't process the fact that Eugene won the blood continuation ritual. He starts feeling guilty for his son. Eugene displayed talent from an early age, but Gerhard lacked the ability to nurture his potential. When Eugene left, he assumed the children of the main family would prove that the gap between them couldn't be bridged by mere talent and effort. Suddenly, Eugene calls out to him, snapping him out of his melancholic thoughts. Gerhard rushes toward his son and embraces him with deep affection. Tears stream down his face as he tells Eugene how proud he is and how much joy he brings him as his child. Eugene reminds him that before leaving, he promised to bring good news and assured him there was no reason to worry. Gerhard continues crying and apologizes for doubting his words. Suddenly, Gerhard notices Gilite and quickly wipes his tears. He bows, introducing himself to the head of the family, and Gilite reciprocates with a nod, adding an apology for the abrupt summons. Not wanting to take his time with his son, Gilite requests him to have a private conversation inside the mansion. Gerhard agrees with a smile, and the two head inside while Eugene remains outside. Inside, Gerhard finds it hard to believe that Gilite is serious about adopting Eugene. Gilite reaffirms his intention. He explains that if Eugene becomes his son, he will automatically be part of the main family. Gerhard rises from his seat and prefaces his next words with an apology in case they come off as disrespectful. He expresses his love for his son and his concerns about Eugene's future. Gilite prompts him to elaborate. Gerhard acknowledges the head of the family's good intentions but points out the possibility that Eugene might face hostility from other members of the main family. After all, Gilite already has 3 children, and Eugene would be perceived as an outsider. Gilite understands completely. He has no desire to restrict Eugene's future, but he is aware that the main family might not accept him due to their strict views on bloodline legitimacy. He further clarifies that even if Eugene joins the main family, he won't be eligible for the head position. However, if Eugene can set that aside, his talent may flourish under their wing. As his son, Eugene would grow closer to his 3 children, paving the way for a brighter future. Gerhard acknowledges that it is a reasonable proposal but insists on discussing it with his son before making a decision. Outside, Eugene is practicing with his sword. His father approaches hesitantly. From his father's demeanor, Eugene deduces that he must be overwhelmed by the prospect of the adoption. As Gerhard nears, Eugene directly questions him about his expression. Gerhard's gaze shifts to Eugene's side, recognizing the legendary sword his son obtained from the family's treasure chamber. He knows that even if he were to sell all his possessions, he could never afford such a weapon. At last, Gerhard speaks, revealing that the head of the family wishes to adopt him. He adds that he too wants Eugene to become Gilite's son to secure a better future. However, Gerhard is also aware that adoption could bring hardships for his son. Eugene reassures him, stating that he understands the challenges ahead, but by now, his father should know that he won't let anyone stand in his way. Tears well up in Gerhard's eyes as he pulls Eugene into an embrace, reminding him never to forget that he was named by both his father and his late mother. Eugene promises that even after the adoption, Gerhard will always be his true father. His father weeps and holds him tightly, grateful to have him as his son. During the embrace, Eugene contemplates how much he stands to gain from the adoption, though the process itself is troublesome for him. He has no desire to become the family head, but he knows few would believe that. He is certain that Gilite's 2 wives will keep him under scrutiny. As he bids farewell to his father, Eugene reflects that there are only 2 ways to handle hostility: either ignore it or crush it outright. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.